Oh. Hi, my name's Nicole. I'm a physical therapist over at Freedom Physical Therapy, both in Fox Point and McGuanago. I was talking with you last week at the same time about heart healthy habits, and we're going to continue our topic this week. So as a reminder, we have 4 sections that we'll go through. First, physical activity, 2, nutrition, 3, stress, and 4, additional factors that contribute to a heart healthy lifestyle. Just as a reminder again that I mentioned last week, it is always very important to talk with your doctor before you change any lifestyle habit, because every person is unique, and these what we'll talk about today are more options for you to become more informed about what you may do to improve your health, but may not be necessarily beneficial to you. So make sure you talk to your doctor before you change anything physical activity wise, nutrition wise, or any other component of your health lifestyle. So let's get started today. So the first thing we'll go through is our physical activity section. A very common way to get started to improve your physical activity levels is a recumbent bike. Many times the biggest question I have with people who would like to start on a recumbent bike is how to properly set up the seat for your own height. So we're going to head over to our recumbent bike here, and I'll show you the best way to set that up for yourself. So let's come on over here. So this is our recumbent bike. This is a very common brand that you may see at gyms such as the YMCA or the WAC. So we'll just go through the best way to set up the chair for you. Again, usually at other locations and also here, there are staff members to assist you in properly getting the number that fits you best for your height and body type. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. However, we'll go through today just basically how to get this set up. So the first thing you do is you sit down. There's going to be a yellow handle right at the bottom here. Sometimes the handles are red or blue, but the handle, if you bring the handle up, that changes where the seat goes. So you first put your feet into the pedals and then give yourself a couple turns. Now, as you can see, my leg is really straightened out, and I have a hard time keeping my heel on the pedal. So you want a nice bend, a soft bend in the knees while you're biking. So this is too far back for me. So I'm going to sit up, bring this farther forwards. And now this is too far forwards. If you see, my knee is bent way too far. So we need a good middle ground right in between. So we're going to pick right up here. And as you can see, when I'm straightening all the way out, I still have about a soft bend in the knee, and it feels comfortable to me. You can feel free to put your hands here or down at the sides here while you're biking. All right, let's come on back here. All right, so, and again, with this live blog, if you have any questions, feel free to just leave a comment or a response on the section below, and then we'll be happy to respond to it either during our session today, or we'll reply to you afterwards if that's more appropriate for what you're commenting on. So on to our nutrition section is next. Today we're going to talk about one of the most common diets for a heart healthy lifestyle, which is the Mediterranean diet. Next week we will go through the DASH diet as well. Those are probably the 2 most common diets that are suggested to people for a heart healthy lifestyle, but today we'll start with the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet was created off of traditional cooking styles and eating habits of people who live in the Mediterranean Sea area. So those foods are primarily based around fish and oils, and it's been found that the Mediterranean diet does reduce the risk of heart disease and is associated with lower levels of bad cholesterol, reduced cardiovascular mortality rates, reduced incidence of cancer levels, Alzheimer's, and other chronic diseases such as that. So it's really been found to be a very helpful diet choice for people to establish into their lifestyle. So what does the Mediterranean diet consist of? So it's primarily a plant-based food diet. Most of what they're eating are fruits and vegetables, but then another large part of this diet is that you're replacing butter and other fats with mostly olive oil and canola oil. They also replace using salt with herbs and spices to flavor foods. They also, as I mentioned before, they often eat fish and poultry at least twice a week, but they bring down the red meat consumption to only about a couple times a month. So they really heavily revolve around fruits, vegetables, fish, and poultry. They do allow in the diet a moderate consumption of red wine, so maybe about a glass with dinner every night if that's tolerated by you and okay with you and your doctor. And then they also suggest a healthy amount of exercise too. So down in the comment section below, we are going to post a really nice Mediterranean diet recipe for you to try to start off if you're interested. It is a grilled lemon salmon, which sounds great, but it's a nice way for you to get an idea of what consists of a Mediterranean diet and how you put that into your lifestyle. All right, and then going on to stress, that's number 3. So in our stress section today, we're going to talk about sleep. Sleep is a very important part of our day. You spend about a third of your life sleeping, and many people feel like they don't get enough sleep and they're always tired and they don't feel well rested when they wake up. So how do we change this lifestyle of not being able to comfortably get to sleep, stay asleep, and then wake up feeling refreshed? So a big part of healthy sleeping habits is to first turn off all electronics about an hour before you go to sleep. That helps calm down the brain and de-stimulates your thought processes in regards to TV, social media, texting, and all those things. So it's a great habit to get into, to just stop looking at your phone or watching TV at least an hour before you want to go to sleep. Oftentimes people also have a difficulty with falling asleep, so you're tossing and turning and just wishing you would fall asleep for 30 minutes to a half an hour, which can get frustrating. Usually a healthy time to fall asleep is about 10 to 15 minutes. If you fall asleep too fast, that may mean you're too exhausted, and if you take too long to fall asleep in that 30-minute range, then there's something that should be done to change that habit. One way to combat that restlessness is to, instead of thinking about things that you're worrying about, things that have been stressful during your day, replace those thoughts with more relaxing thoughts, dreaming of vacations or something fun that your children did today, or things that bring you joy while you're talking, versus thinking about the things that you need to do tomorrow or the things that stressed you out today. So it's changing your mindset of what is causing you to not be able to fall asleep is a nice first step to being able to fall asleep better. Another idea is that if you are able to fall asleep, but then you wake up in the middle of the night and you just can't get back to sleep, one way to help you go back to sleep is to get up and do something light, maybe read a very boring book or a magazine or fold some laundry, enough to make your body not feel like you're just tossing and turning in bed, but you're being productive, and then it can encourage you to finally go back to sleep once that book gets too boring, or you're done with your magazine, or you folded enough laundry from the day, then you can just head back to sleep. And the last tip for healthy sleeping habits is to keep your room set up for positive sleeping habits. So taking your TV out of your room, having dimmer lights, make sure you're not eating or doing your homework or work in your bed. Promote your bed for sleeping habits, and that's a great way to set yourself up for better sleeping during your day. All right, so our last thing for today is our number 4, our additional risk factors. And today we are going to talk about blood pressure. Every time you go to the doctor, oftentimes in physical therapy too, we'll check your blood pressure to see what level it's at. But oftentimes, what exactly does blood pressure measure, and what are the different numbers? So there's 2 sections to blood pressure, the top number and the bottom number. Oftentimes, a normal blood pressure reading is 120/80. So what is that 120? That 120 is your systolic blood pressure. And I have a little card for you here. There. So your systolic blood pressure is that top number. So what does systolic mean? That means that is the amount of pressure that the blood is pushing on your arteries when the heart pumps blood out of itself. So if you can see from the picture, your heart is being squeezed and contracted and it's pushing that blood out, and how hard is that blood pushing on your arteries is what your systolic number is. Down to your diastolic number is during the time of filling and relaxation of your heart, how much pressure is still being put on those arteries. So it should be lower because you're not forcing blood out of your heart yet, but there is still some pressure being put on the arteries outside of the heart. Generally, it's very common and normal while you're exercising that your top number, the systolic blood pressure, increases, and your bottom number, the diastolic, should stay about the same. So when you go to the doctor or when you're testing your blood pressure at home, that's why they usually ask you to sit quietly for about 5 minutes or so to get that heart back to a normal resting state, because that's the ideal reading of your blood pressure. If you take your blood pressure too soon after walking or working out, or if you feel stressed, that is going to increase your blood pressure and may be an inaccurate reading of what your resting blood pressure is. What's very important about monitoring your blood pressure is that it shows how much stress is being put on your arteries constantly throughout your day. So if you are at a resting state and you have a high level of blood pressure, then your arteries are having to take a lot of force from your blood multiple times a minute. About resting heart rate is about 60 to 100 beats a minute. So imagine that amount of pressure being put on your arteries throughout your day every minute or so. So that's why it's so important to watch your blood pressure for a heart-healthy lifestyle. So that's all we have for today, for today's segment. Next week we'll go through the same 4 sections again, but I have some new topics for you. With physical activity, we'll be going through some yoga poses for relaxation. For nutrition, we'll be going through, as I mentioned before, the DASH diet. And then for stress, we'll be reviewing more stress habits to eliminate out of your lifestyle to reduce your stress levels. And then finally, our additional risk factors, we'll be reviewing cholesterol levels and what exactly cholesterol is too. So thank you for watching. Feel free to leave any comments for us to reply to you. Bye.